What the Supreme Court is saying is that people can be discriminatory as long as they claim it's their free speech, which will just bring back segregation.
Now let's return to the US because in a blow to LGBT rights, the US Supreme Court has ruled that the constitutional right to free speech allows certain businesses to refuse to provide services for same-sex weddings. It is a ruling in favour of a web designer who cited her Christian beliefs in challenging a Colorado anti-discrimination law. Well, let's go to our correspondent Jess Parker. She's there at the Supreme Court and it's been a busy couple of days. Let's take it in stages, Jess. Tell us more about this particular ruling, first of all.
So this was a case brought preemptively by, as you were saying, a website designer who wanted to expand into weddings, but said she feared that Colorado, her home state's anti-discrimination laws, meant that she would somehow be punished if she refused, on the basis of her evangelical Christian beliefs, to provide wedding website services to LGBT same-sex.
So she was afraid that being a religious bigot wouldn't be good enough to prevent her from making a website for people she hated. That's why she used that is just her freedom of speech, and it's artwork when it's not artwork, nor has she ever made a website.
Couples. Now, this has been rattling on since 2016, finally reached the Supreme Court, the US's highest court, today, and the judges have ruled in favour of her free speech rights. So a hugely significant ruling, but there are, of course, fears.
Before it was you weren't allowed to discriminate based upon protected classes. Now it's your free speech to discriminate because people should have the free speech to call gay people the F word and black people the N word.
As you were mentioning there, this could open the door to other forms of discrimination. So a major ruling, and one that will be closely examined along with the others that have been pouring out of the Supreme Court over the last couple of days.
You mentioned the last couple of days. Of course, we had that ruling yesterday around discrimination laws and affirmative action. And of course, this from a court where we had Donald Trump install 3 new Supreme Court justices. So it is really having an impact, isn't it?
Yeah, a kind of familiar divide has emerged here. So the cases we've seen over the last couple of days, the really kind of high-profile ones, have broadly fallen along the 6-3 dividing line, with the 3 Liberal justices dissenting. So you mentioned the one yesterday where the court ruled that race could no longer be considered as a factor amongst many when universities look at hopefuls who want to come to their institution. So that was seen as highly significant, a scrapping of this type of affirmative action. And then as well, just in the last hour, we've also had the court rule that Joe Biden's $400 billion student debt relief plan is basically unlawful. Again, ruling 6.
How is it unlawful, though, for the federal government to be like, yeah, I'm going to forgive federal loans and stuff given to people? Right-wingers never have a problem when their federal loans are forgiven, like during the COVID era when people were getting PPP loans and getting millions of dollars and having those forgiven.
6-3, the 3 Liberal justices dissenting on that decision. But what the court has ruled in the majority is that Joe Biden essentially overreached himself in trying to use an old law in order to provide significant debt relief to potentially more than 40 million students across America.